Burke's on his feet. He looks up and gives me a grin and says,
"Hey dude, you too must be from Marin."
Marin County's A-OK, from Tampa Stinson all the way to MA. Fresh organic veggies in the market every day. The Dennis, Dylan, and NW.
The Run TMC podcast is brought to you by Encore Custom. Encore Custom, from the field to the gym and everywhere in between. Encore Custom designs high-performance team apparel built for athletes, coaches, and active communities. Each piece is crafted with technical precision, modern fits, and customizable details that bring your team identity to life. You can shop their ready-to-wear performance gear online or in-store, or create custom designs made exclusively for your team. Visit EncoreCustom.com, that is EncoreCustom.com, or stop by their headquarters at 891 4th Street in lovely San Rafael, California, to see where performance meets design.
We are sponsored by our friends at The Hub. We love Jerry and Rebecca. Some new menu items that Jerry and Rebecca wanted us to let our listeners know about. The winter salad, the Olima, and a new backyard special, the Lawrence Elk. Very clever. So the Olima salad, this looks amazing. Baby kale and arugula with sliced pear, pomegranate seeds, beets, goat cheese, red onion, crunchy pecans with house-made maple Dijon vinaigrette. Sign me up. And then the Lawrence Elk, cleverly named. 100% ground elk patty, caramelized onions, point-raised blue cheese, crumbles, mushrooms, butter lettuce, and sriracha chili mayo on the classic sesame seed bun. The Hub is an awesome place, great beer selection, awesome burgers, awesome salads, great people, and kind of our ad hoc home away from home, as we've had 2 roundtables now at the Hub. So thanks, Jerry and Rebecca, for letting us invade your outside patio and descend upon you with our team of coaches and players. Thank you to the Hub for your support. Everybody get over there, get some food, get some drinks, and enjoy. Thanks.
The Run TMC podcast is also brought to you by the Nike basketball camps at San Domenico School in lovely Sleepy Hollow, California. Director Jeff Skaggs has been bringing you the basketball camps at San Domenico School for over a quarter century, and they're back this fall for 3 select dates in November and 2 in December for ages 6 to 14 from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. You can go to ussportscamps.com and look up San Domenico Nike basketball camps for more information. And they'll be back again next summer.
Hey, it's Dave and Duff. We wanted to take a moment to acknowledge the passing of our friend and absolute Marin legend, Melissa Boyle. Melissa, we've talked about her a lot. Just an incredible human, strength of spirit. Was a great basketball player in Marin, player of the year, all league. Went on to have a great career at St. Mary's as a lacrosse player and as a commentator for the basketball team, and then had a very successful career in sales, but unfortunately lost her battle with breast cancer. We talked about it extensively with her. Just an incredible person who touched a lot of lives. And we're very grateful that we had the chance to meet her. And we're very, very sad to hear of her passing. And we share our, thoughts with her family and all of her friends.
Yeah, condolences to the Boyle family and to her extended network. It was really amazing to be able to be a part of the Melissa Boyle night at San Marin last season, and to see everyone in the stands wearing pink shirts and see Melissa there looking radiant and determined despite what she'd already gone through. Dave and I didn't know her well, but we had enough touches with her in a brief time to feel like we did. And she was likely one of those, I know she is one of those people that touched far more than the average number of people in her life that had a very wide sphere. So she will be missed, and condolences again. This is the Run TMC podcast. That is the Run the Marin County podcast, a podcast about basketball located here in lovely Marin County. I'm Duffy Ballard, and with me today, as always, is my friend Dave Levine, who is wearing a very faded Seattle Supersonics t-shirt while sitting at a very long rectangular table at our favorite burger and salad and beer joint in Marin County. Can you guess what that is, Dave?
Is it the Hub? Duffy?
You're right.
Amazing. And yeah, way to paint a word picture. That was beautiful. I thought I'd throw on the Sonics gear this morning. I've been watching Starting Five on Netflix, which I've been enjoying. Durant, KD is a great interview always. And,
No filter.
And he started his career. He was a draft pick of the Seattle Supersonics before they moved under the cover of darkness to Oklahoma City.
And they were bad for a while, and then they got pretty good.
Now they're defending NBA champions in
Breaking
first
news.
place.
Breaking news.
Yes.
Breaking news. We're breaking some news here, Dave.
Exactly.
Well, so Dave, this is the intro to this part 2 of our Coach Roundtable, which was recorded just last Sunday.
Yep.
The day before the start of the high school season here at the Hub. And we're back at the Hub to do the intro, but also because we have a player roundtable that we're going to record after this with 5 all-league players from last year in the MCAL. So that's exciting. But more on that later. For today, we have just a quick intro. We want to do recognition of one of our most loyal podcast listeners and probably the most elite podcast emailer, and share one of the stories he shared with us.
Yeah, our friend Alan Rossi is one of our favorite listeners. He's so enthusiastically supportive of what we do. Alan, we really appreciate your messages. He not only listens, but he shares episodes with friends. And Alan's a great writer. He's a Marin historian. He sends emails out to a big group of people, often about a variety of topics. But this one was particularly funny. I thought great. He likes to talk about his old coach at Santa Fe High, Mike Diaz, who is currently in his 90s, living in Novato. And he told a story about a player named Greg Goodall, who played on Mike Diaz's varsity team for Santa Fe High in 1972. And Duff, why don't we do a little role play here, all right? I'm going to start the story, and you're going to be Greg, and I'll be Coach Diaz.
Okay, this is going to be fun.
This is drama, acting.
We just came up with this idea like 30 seconds ago.
It's amazing. It's improv.
Okay.
So one day, very nervous Greg Goodall, a Santa Fe High student and basketball player, approaches his legendary coach about a scheduling conflict. Greg played in the Santa Fe High School band.
Coach Diaz, I don't know what to do. We have an important game the same night as a very important concert. Coach, what should I do?
Side note, that was amazing acting. You are brilliant. Okay, Coach Diaz says, son, you may have a better future in that field. You go ahead and play in the concert.
Okay, I will, Coach. And I'm going to become really famous someday.
All right, so role play is over. You're welcome. So today, according to Alan, Greg is a member of the John Williams Orchestra, playing on many of the movie themes that all of our listeners, I'm sure, have heard. John Williams obviously did all the music for the Star Wars movies. He's worked on several Spielberg films, legendary composer. He's now working on Williams' final movie theme for the next Spielberg movie about UFOs to be released in June of 2026. So just thought this was a great story. A few years ago at a coffee, Goodall came to see his former coach, Mike Diaz. We've mentioned this before. Mike would often have a coffee gathering. Michelle Bravelli, who played for Mike, would go to those. And Greg came and he thanked Coach Diaz for everything that Coach did for him. He is just a legendary Marin figure, educator, and coach. And Alan shared that story because he thought our podcast listeners would enjoy it. And I think he's right.
And it connects well with one of the topics of discussion in part 2 of the roundtable, which is connecting with players. And this is a lifelong connection between coach and player. And that was obviously a moment that mattered to Greg. And Greg, I've never met you, but hopefully I did you some service with my acting role there. And Dave, Alan also has now added us to his email listserv, which reviews the sport of pickleball in Marin County. And
Yes.
I'm just going to give you a little excerpt from the latest one. And this is a dispatch from Piper Park, Larkspur, California. Something I've never seen on the courts. Jody, a very consistent and good player, showed up Sunday with her left arm in a sling. I fell at home, she told everyone, but that did not stop her from playing and playing well. And Dave, we've talked before about the most common athletic source of injury that I see as an emergency physician here in Marin County.
Yes, you've mentioned it to me as a cautionary tale. the assumption would be old guys playing basketball, but you said that's part of it, but even more common, pickleball injuries.
Pickleball, yeah. And it's not just old people, although there are older people. But yeah, it could be the Achilles. Ouch. That's unfortunately common. But the trip and fall is common. And especially if you mix pickleball with a few cocktails and maybe some poor footwear, you could end up with a broken elbow, broken wrist. These things happen.
Yes, they do. They do. But pickleball is a great sport. It obviously keeps people active, young and old. Shout out to our friend Josh Green, who's a listener to the podcast. I see him out on the courts all the time. He's been competing. It's, as we've mentioned repeatedly, with our adult league basketball, whatever you can do as you get advanced in age to compete and get that feeling it's always worthwhile.
Breaking news, Dave. Friend of the podcast, Davis Turnbull, has now walked by us 5 times.
Yeah, that was a very subtle fist bump that you gave him. Well, we're excited to get to this second part of this roundtable. We got great feedback on the first part, but before we do, little topical moment here. Obviously, we had an election in our country and in our state, and Prop 50 passed, and you had an anecdote about
it's a glossary, Dave. It's a glossary.
Okay.
I was a political science major.
Yeah.
And I imagine I learned this at some point in the past, but if I did, I have forgot it. So gerrymander, where did it come from? It's kind of a funny word. So gerrymander, of course, means to take the districts and put them in funny shapes. So
redraw them.
You can redraw them, put them in funny shapes so that you can maximize the number of representatives you get for your party by making certain districts for the other party very heavily concentrated for them, like 80% them, 20 for you, and then drawing the other ones so that you may win a 55-45. So gerrymander. But where does it come from, Dave? Well, Governor Elbridge Gerry, who was the governor in Massachusetts, 1810 to 11, before becoming the 5th vice president of the United States under James Madison.
Wow.
So anyway, it came from Gerry, and then apparently the redrawing of the maps under his leadership in Massachusetts, one of them resembled a salamander. Gerrymander.
And there you have it. That's an excellent glossary term.
We're all over the place today, Dave.
It's great.
Should we get to basketball?
We got range. Yeah, let's get to basketball. So this, again, reminder, we had Kayden Korst, Tom Poser, Tony Butler, Dave Dineen joining me and Duff at the Hub, talking about a variety of topics. Here in round 2, more of the same, but we shift. We start the conversation talking about connecting with players as coaches. We get into a variety of other topics about the game and coaching and player development. We get into a little bit of X's and O's. It's a lot of fun. This was a great conversation. I'm excited to keep these roundtables going. I think they're a great forum to give people a chance to share ideas. And I've re-listened to this whole interview, part 1 and 2, a couple times because I picked up a lot of great insights from these guys and gals.
Yeah, I've been thinking about, there's a conversation about journaling and how that can help a player both reach their goals and or deal with adversity. And I think that's a very interesting conversation to revisit. The connecting with players. Tom Poser says something I've been thinking about is that he's good at connecting with players that were like he was at their age.
Right.
And I've kind of been wondering, am I similar? And I think maybe, in that obviously is, easier if you can relate to a kid that, is maybe feeling some of the same way you were at that age. So, awesome conversation. We've got another hour plus of it. It's also up on YouTube. So we are live on video. This is the, second episode that we have the video. We get a little early snippet of Holden Ballard wiping down some tables here at the Hub, which is fun.
We do.
And so we'll be doing some, but not all of the episodes on video as well.
That's right. Well, let's get to part 2 and then more great episodes coming up, including, as we mentioned, we're doing a player roundtable today, which we'll release soon. We have a few other interviews that we've booked already that are going to be interesting and insightful, we know. And then more coaches roundtables. We've been reaching out to other coaches around the county and around Northern California to join us for some roundtables. So season 3 is off to a great start. Obviously, everybody's now full in the throes of either tryouts or the tryouts are done. And we're working on now just having our practices with our teams. So it's a fun time of year.
It sure is.
Onward. So this is a good segue into another topic connecting with players and building relationships with players. And it's a little different between head coaches and assistant coaches. Dave, I want your perspective on this too, because you're a counselor at the college level and you've been an advisor to and a kind of a hero to so many kids who have gone on to play college basketball. They look up to you because you have such a great story. But how do you approach, Tom, let's start with you. How do you approach connecting with kids off the court? Because you're incredible at it. They look up to you. You walk into any high school gym in Marin and kids love you and know you.
There's one of your former players right over there.
Well,
there
there
it
it
is.
is.
We're looking at
Holden in the wild. He's wiping the table down. Look at him go left can-do.
great technique.
Look at that.
He's also, by the way, he's doing it off 2 feet. He's wiping the table off 2 feet.
Violently.
Not enough effort though. He's really a medium pace. I don't know what he's holding back. You're only getting 7 minutes, kid. Use them. No,
Yeah.
Oh, I thought. Hold on. Go ahead. Go ahead, Dave. I'm gonna commentate. Yeah, Dave is leaning to the right. Holden's come over. I thought he was bringing in a guest speaker, but no, he's ordering a beer.
No, ordering a beer.
I interrupt.
Yeah. Go ahead, Tom. How do you connect with players?
I don't. I'm bad at that. I appreciate that. I think I'm okay. Thanks, Duffy. I love a glass of water.
Pilsner.
Same.
It's so I'll give your podcast credit, and I told you this multiple times to you in person. I've learned a tremendous amount about how to coach from your podcast, and listening to half the podcast for me is the good old days talking about Drake 82 and all that. And if I got to hear about you and Dineen's backdoor play one more time, I'm going to lose my mind. So
I'm glad you mentioned that, Dave. Why don't we wait? We got a couple glasses. We can. All right, go ahead, Tom. Sorry.
Save that for season 4, please.
Yeah.
I do a really good job of connecting with kids that are like me from a perspective of I play like a psycho. I sweat. I dive on the floor. That's me. What I don't do well is connect with kids that aren't that way.
Same.
And it's been
I suck at it.
And so I think if I was a college coach or a high school coach, I could build a roster or recruit around that. But in CYO, I look back, there's some kids I wasn't fair to because I expected them to be that way. And so, I wasn't passive aggressive. I don't like that. And I never once ever in CYO ever pulled a kid for effort, because I know the point is learning. But I didn't, you see them afterwards, and I just have this thing in my mind, like, why didn't you dive, man? Come on.
Well, I guess that's a question. How do you, and I'm interested in all of your perspective on this. How do you connect with a player who's got talent and so much potential, but just doesn't, either they don't play hard or they don't love basketball?
Well,
You get really good assistants.
Let me dive in on
balance
that.
you out.
KK, you're screwed.
Sorry, the assistant thing is where I've gotten better at that. So from your podcast and from the psychology of sports, I'm learning my job. You want to be a good assistant. I want to be good at my job. I have to connect with players. I'm not in charge of judging. That's not my job. That's the head coach's job. And so if you watch me before every game, I go up and talk to every single kid in the lamp lines. Yep. I give somebody a positive note. It's all positive. Dude, you're going to have an amazing day, bro. If you get out there, crush it. It's 2 sentences. But whatever I can do to just be somebody, these kids are nervous and scared, not all of them, but some of them are, and nobody's telling them anything positive. It's all fear in that gym.
Yeah.
So I just want to be the one guy that's slipping a little bit of a positivity into them. And I learned that from the podcast.
Yeah.
I think it is difficult. I mean, I coached 5 years of junior college basketball. We had some amazing teams at West Valley College, like 9 Division I players. And I'm 23 years old. And these guys are all Pac-10 players, and it's hard to connect sometimes, but you try to get over on it, just like working with shooters. Hey, man, let's just get up to 150 jump shots. That cuts everything to the core right there. Like, I can throw you great snap passes right now and make you a better shooter. Like, that kid doesn't care if he's an NAIA player, Division II, Division I. He wants to get better. But sometimes it is hard. A lot of guys are too cocky. Oh, I have no problem with players. No, I mean, you got a guy that's a little too confident and he's not as good as he thinks. That can come out eventually over the course of a college basketball season.
I think my biggest weakness, well, there's a lot of weaknesses. One of them is there's some kids I just can't get to because I do kind of have this goofy way and like no cool jacket vibe about me when I coach. Like, I'm putting myself out there. I'm saying funny stories. I'm making fun of myself. And some kids just don't buy into my like confidence circle and happy place. And I always say, like, my gym is a safe space. And you can tell some kids that just come into it and they don't feel like it's safe. They're not going to give in to what I preach. And so that's why I think assistants are really important, because they're an extension of the head coach, and they'll help the coaching staff as a whole connect with this one kid that maybe I can't get to specifically. And I've coached obviously a lot through MBA. There were maybe a couple at MC that were harder, but eventually we got there. And now, like, at Branson, it's going to be I'm curious to see. I mean, there's already a couple of kids I know, like, just thinking if I were in high school, like, it's not that I don't like you, like, I love you, but I just, like, don't know how to ask how you're doing. I don't know how to ask what your mom does for work. I don't know how to, like, get into your life
Right.
without being super weird, like, or just it's not organic.
Yeah, I don't think it's possible. I mean, I don't know that it's possible to reach everyone, but I do think that it's not the court time. It's all the other time you spend together. And that's why I think doing things in the off season and spending a lot of time together, whether it's the team room or, tournament time, we take a trip to Tahoe in the summertime, like those moments that not the time when we're playing basketball, but the other time that matters. And I do the same thing. I make fun of myself a lot, and we laugh a lot, and we love a lot. I think, I think one thing that's really important for me is that, like, I do coach hard, and it's intense. And I'm like you guys both said, there's times where I don't understand why the effort isn't where it needs to be, because that's the only thing that we really care about most is your effort. And when they don't get it, you don't understand it. But I think ultimately, if you're only going to say anything at the end of practice or at the end of a speech, at the end of games, which I don't give anymore, it's just that I love you, and it doesn't, like, cares what happened out there. Until next time we get back in the gym, we'll fix it then. I think it's really important these kids don't carry this stuff with them. And that's why I like I try to teach your kids. I'm trying to teach my kids to journal more and not let the emotion of the moment dictate how they walk away from the experience. So they say, what's the cliche? When emotions are high, logic is low, right? Like, just decompress, go watch the boys game, right? Go have a good time, and then maybe sit down and write about what you did well, what you could do better, and then come back and just enjoy playing basketball again. And I think that's really important for
Journaling. Like, I've really learned this. You've reinforced this for me, Tony. I've heard it before, but the last couple of weeks where we've been meeting with you, journaling is really powerful. And actually getting a pen and paper, which in today's world is very strange. Sit down and write something. Your hand's going to get tired. Duffy literally has pen and paper right now. I'm good, Duff. Thank you.
I'll take some notes.
Yeah, I'm going to order another beer. But your journaling concept is great. And then you sent around a link to Shaka Smart, obviously a great coach who does an amazing job of striking a balance between connecting with his players and also just being an amazing motivator. And he talks about journaling as a regular practice for his Texas team.
at the highest level.
At the highest level,
Yeah.
for sure. In game,
Sorry, what do we?
Yep.
What? I don't journal. What do we journal about?
Tony.
Give me the 30-second. What? Not just what are you trying to accomplish, but what are you writing down?
It depends on what the ultimate goal is. Like, the first journal prompt that I give any of my kids, like my players, when they journal, and like the principals, the first thing I ask them to do is, what do you really want?
And then when you get stuck, you say, what I meant to say was...
Right. Because if you stop writing, you begin to edit yourself. That's not really what I mean. And then you start writing what you think somebody else wants to hear. Right. So you should just write. It's basically talking out loud to yourself, but the process of physically writing it down and then seeing it on paper, the science says that it repaves the pathways in your brain, the neuropathy in your brain, the neural pathways in your brain. I mean, doctor will know.
Oh, yeah. Good studies said, like, if you just put down the pen to paper and you don't stop, like, you don't take the pen off the paper, as you say, you don't edit, and you just go. And especially for traumatic events, not so much, I don't think, for like positive events, but if you miss a shot at the end of the game and you're dwelling on it, just write all the details of that.
Yeah.
And then you go back and you do it again and you do it again. And if you've done it several times over a period of time, eventually your brain will change the narrative. And we all have these memories that are false memories, right? Because our brain has rewritten them over time so that we can process them better. So yeah, I think it's probably hard to get a high schooler to do that on a regular basis. I mean, I would like to hear about how you actually get someone to do that effectively. because I can't even do it myself.
Yeah.
Too distracted. But it seems like it could be a very powerful tool.
I've written in a journal every day since August of 1991. It's the War and Peace now. It's massive.
Do you
It's-
go back and reread?
Yeah. So I know my only goal was I want to know what I was doing. I try to write something where I can remember it 30 years ago. So I wrote down every one of my college games. Now it's filled with a lot of misery in life as well, but and challenges.
A deep
But
dive into midlife.
I can go back to September 1997 and see what I was doing in life.
But
So
what do you, that sounds like a diary. Is diary different than journaling? You're tracking
When
what
do you
you've
do
done.
this? Yeah, when do you
I
like
find
right
a
before you go
time.
to bed?
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
You
Every
kept-
day since August of 91, I've written in it.
And are you writing what occurred that day, or are you writing
Yes.
like hopes and dreams kind of
More,
stuff?
more of what I attempted to accomplish that day.
Uh-huh.
What about how you feel? Like, or
He's emotionless, KK.
Hey, I'd like to remind you
Okay.
that Dave Dineen bypassed a date, a potential romantic tryst to shoot hoops with me, Tom, and Duffy in the Archie Williams gym in the middle of COVID.
June of 21.
Yes, June of 21.
Yeah.
You remember that?
And did you write down the?
Nicole, if you're out there,
unfriended me on Facebook.
Nicole, call Dave.
Did you run the backdoor play that day?
Oh.
Tom, we don't like to talk about the backdoor
This
play.
is a children's show. I think, Tom, the big thing is like I said, the human brain sort of tends to have a negativity bias. So a lot of the journaling is about getting kids to find all their positive experiences and continue to repeat that, like Duffy said. Like, so, like, when am I at my best? What does that look like? So that then they can restate that. Like, what does that look like for me? And then go back over that in their pregame. Like, where was it? When am I at my best? Oh, when I'm doing this. And we do a highlight reel activity where you create your 10 best highlights, and then you use those highlights as your pregame routine. You just go over them mentally. What do they look like? What did it smell like? What did I feel like? And let that occupy your mindset instead of, holy crap, that boy or girl is up in row 5 and it's going to watch me airball a free throw. Right. And they're thinking about the good times instead, because that's not what the human brain does.
So, and I have no experience or profession or education in these areas, but I've experienced it. The best CYO game that my oldest son, Charlie, won, and that team never won a title. There was a strange group of teams throughout, but we beat the best team in the league, and it was the best win we had, and it was when everybody played the best. And I remember before the game being a little psychotic, the beginning and end. At the beginning, I walked around each kid and I said, "We are going to win this game. We will win." And I was just being weird. I actually thought I was being weird. I didn't understand there was a psychology behind it. And it'll be no surprise, everybody played well. And the kid that we really needed to play well played the rebound kid, play D and give me 12 boards.
Yeah.
Side
you
note.
gotta be weird.
Yeah, I agree. You're not as weird as you profess to be. You're very,
Thank you.
but some kids
I
you get
disagree. KK's pretty freaking weird.
Yeah, you should see my dancing at practice.
Get the beers coming.
Sidebar, but the psychology around giving a kid a specific task for a game, your only job today is 12 words. I don't care what else you do kind of philosophy. Instead of like worry about all the basketball out there, give me 12 boards. But anyway, the reason I tell the story is because at the end of the game, one of the kids, our best player, missed 2 free throws that would have won the game in regulation. And he was nervous, and you could see it on him. There was no one, time had run out. He's out there by himself.
Boy.
You know that
Yep.
fear?
Yep, of course.
I have a question. Sorry, finish and then I have a question.
Okay. So then overtime, shockingly, same exact thing. He's fouled with no time on the clock. Down 1. And he's out there by himself. And I go, hey. And I won't use his name. Hey. And he's like kind of nervous. And I go, hey. And he looks over at me. I go, hey. I go, look at Charlie. And my kid who's standing at half court because everyone's back. And he goes, what? I go, look how goofy he looks. And he turns.
Yeah, John Candy moment is
Exactly
exactly
right.
what I thought.
Joe
So
Montana.
he turns and looks, and Charlie's like, what? Why is everyone looking at me? And he laughs. Okay. And he hits them both and we win.
Yeah.
Wow.
And so anyway, I brought that up with Tasha, and Tasha's, the term I forget what the term she used was, but it's impersonation, right? It's character development. I think that's what she said on the podcast.
Yeah.
She said, you can do a couple of things. You can pretend to be, I am the greatest shooter of all time. It's not you, it's a character. Or you can pick someone on the crowd you dislike and prove them wrong. Watch this. But if you're nervous, what you don't want to be is you in that moment.
It's great.
Pretty cool for the kid to be able to shut it off and hit a shot.
I was at that game, Terra Linda Old Gym.
No, this was MC in front of Saya. I was impressed because Saya
Nailed it.
Yeah.
That's right.
Here's my question. Time runs out. You're shooting free throws. You got one kid out there shooting the free throws. Can you have your teammates stand there with you? Or if time's expired, it's not a technical foul. Like time's expired, they send everybody to their bench. Can you say, no, we want the lane lights filled?
No, the refs wave them off, right?
Is that a rule? Like if time's expired,
We'll
you're
have
not
to
allowed
ask
stand there?
our friend Daryl Rory.
Have you ever seen that in a high school game? Or someone's out there? I think that's like a rec
That's a
thing.
CYO thing.
CYO club rec thing. I
Maybe.
don't think I've ever seen a free throw
No,
shooter.
if there's zero time,
There's no time left
rebounders.
at any level. I think they have people out there by themselves, right?
At the end of halves, but I don't think I've ever seen it at the end of a game. I've seen like teams get ready
think
to go to the locker
No
room.
ref's going to make that call in a college
officiating
game.
kind of gets better. I think like you don't make those types of calls.
Yeah.
I lost a game in my second year at San Rafael against Albany, and I don't know that I would change how I handled it. We would play to Albany at home at San Rafael. There might have been 10 people in the crowd, and we were up 1. Kid makes the first free throw. We're up 2. I back everybody out of the box, and I just said,
Exactly.
so I back everybody out.
oh.
They kept their players there. I backed everyone out of our box, and I said, make the free throw. We'll guard from half court.
And then prevent defense, essentially.
Yeah. Well, he missed the free throw. Kid catches it, turns and throws a football pass 93 feet. Nothing but net. We lose by 1.
Oh,
It's good. It's called The Miracle in Marin on YouTube. You can watch it. You can see a young 28-year-old butthead that didn't keep somebody in the box that night. But, my fear was that somebody would stick their hand up and like foul a guy throwing the ball. And like, what are the odds that a guy would do that? We got to the locker room and it was really quiet. And then we all just started dying laughing.
Yeah.
That just happened.
that
just happened. The kid ripped his jersey off and started running around saying, I told you should have been quarterback. I told you I should have been quarterback. Yeah, it's great.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Cool moment for that kid, man.
Totally.
Hell yeah, man. Hell yeah.
What's it called? How do we YouTube
Miracle
this?
in Marin. I think
Miracle
you
in
could look
Marin.
up last second shot Albany San Rafael on YouTube and it comes up.
Okay.
And
That must have been a good journaling exercise the next morning for you.
I don't think I was drunk. It was probably.
Okay, I want to ask KK to discuss a topic that I think is interesting. So KK sent out emails to a bunch of college coaches, local college coaches recently, and just said, "Hey, I'm a high school coach. I'd love to come visit your program." And KK got a bunch of great responses, and she's gone to visit a bunch of college programs, men and women. She and I are going to go see the Stanford women practice. I have a connection there, obviously. KK, talk about visiting college programs, observations you've made, what you're getting out of that exercise.
Yeah. First of all, I haven't told you this, but I've texted people and said, "Oh, who should I go watch? Who should I go watch?" And they all say, "Oh, you should go see this guy. I can set you up." And I say no. And so you set me up with Stanford.
Yeah.
I'm kind of curious what would have happened if I just emailed them myself.
Yeah.
Happy I'm going, but it's really interesting to hear the different programs and their responses and how they welcome me, how they don't welcome me. So one, communicating, seeing who will. I just coach Marin girls high school basketball. Who will allow me to come watch their practice? That's one thing. Without name dropping, right? Without saying I know blah blah blah. He said this about you. Can I come look? I just want it to be about me watching this program. And so there's been a couple that have been awesome, and there have been a couple where it's like, this is weird. I would never play in your program. I don't agree with your program.
The communication or the actual practice itself?
Both. I think, sure, you can come watch practice. Here's where you go. Here's where you pay. Here's where you show up. In contrast, there's some other programs that are here's a parking pass for you. I'll be waiting outside the door.
Come watch video with us. Yeah.
Come watch film.
Yeah.
I walk in, and the entire team shakes my hand and looks me in the eye. We're so happy you're here.
Who was that? You can tell us who that was.
East Bay men
Yeah.
and the USF men were very welcoming.
Coach Rooney.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Coach
And
Rooney,
then
by the way,
Cal women were also phenomenal. Very respectful.
quick plug, Coach Rooney, unbeknownst to us, listener to several of our podcast episodes, which is amazing.
So what he did was he was very welcoming, gave me a practice plan, sat me down. His guys were super welcoming, respectful, looked me in the eye. And the thing that he said, and I'll probably never forget this, is he brought me to the circle at the end and he said, a lot of people say things like, she's going to be a really good coach someday, and it's kind of cliche. And he said, it's not cliche. Like, she's already accomplished way more than what anybody can. So we're happy. And he asked me for advice. And I'm like, why are you asking me for advice? Like, I've got nothing to share with you. Like, and I asked him questions too. He was willing to help me. So I responded later, a couple of days later, with questions I had about his program and how they guarded certain things or how they ran their offense. And he wrote me a detailed response back. And people, leaders like that are going to be really successful, I think. The Cal women's practice was awesome. It's incredible to see how much their staff means to their program. Like, Charmin's not only recruiting kids, she's recruiting practice players, managers, dobos, assistants, like
What are dobos?
director of basketball operations. And they do they handle everything behind the scenes.
Couch sleepers.
Couch sleepers.
Yeah.
They want to be coaches, but they don't get to coach. Like, they've got to do. So that was really great to see. And we don't need that in high school. So I'm not trying to steal things for high school. It's just me learning about the game. And then what was cool about the USF men's practice is I was sitting next to Trailblazers Scout, King Scout, Warriors Scout, Warriors GM, like all these guys. And they all got kicked out of practice. So I kind of had a 15-minute dive in with these.
To be clear, the players got kicked out of practice, not the scouts, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
So these players got kicked out. And
So when you reach out, are you reaching out? What are you saying in your emails? Are you informing them you're a state? I assume you're mentioning you want a state title because you want to go with some credibility and you want to be invited.
Couple of them.
And are you in, not to, maybe it's none of my business, but are you in pursuit of a future college profession?
I've never thought so, but after watching these, yes. Because I think at high school, all you really get to do is coach and teach. I think in college, you get to have a much greater impact on their academics, their life. Like, you are their home away from home. In high school, you get to spend a lot of time with the kids. They look up to you. But it's really an hour and a half a day.
For the record, I tried to get her to leave the league at the end of the year last year. I tried to get her to.
We have one vote for KK moving on.
Yeah. I pushed her hard to. She got an offer, and I said, "You should take that."
Well, you'd be great at it. You've got the mentality for it and the experience, not just as a player, but as a coach.
What I like
you connect
about
well with the players.
It's really their life. When Dave and I are coaching the Branson girls, yes, from tomorrow through March, it's going to be crazy, but it's really not a full-time. It's not even close to a full-time job. As much as we watch film and
It is up here.
it is in your mind, but I think in college, physically, mentally, emotionally, calendar year, it's your life to coach basketball. And I think that's really, really cool.
Yeah.
And it's really changed a lot just from an academic counseling perspective. NIL, I work at the University of Nevada, Reno, and a lot of these players, you're talking about a full-time job, and it's all online. The only time they really come to school is for practice. They are full-time basketball players. They're making a lot more money than you think, and they're expected to perform and at a high level. And a lot of them are just 15 credits of online English 101.
I have a question for KK. In the practices you've been to, was there anything you saw from a tactical standpoint that you're wow, I've never seen or heard of that before?
Yeah, Coach Rooney squares up in the corner. So he doesn't. So he forces baseline, doesn't allow middle, but in the corner he'll square up with whoever they're guarding. So he doesn't want to allow the baseline. He also thinks and trusts his guys that he'll keep them outside of the elbow or outside of the key from the corner if he forces middle.
So the no middle principle goes out the window in the corner.
So it's kind of like when you're young at the top of the key, you can choose which way you want to force. Obviously, most people will say force left. It's at the top of the key. In the corners, he fully squares up. Which
so he's not force middle, it's not force baseline. It's force to the slot.
One-on-one.
That's the first time I've ever heard of that.
Yeah. So, and he's all practice. Square him up, square him up, square him up.
But they're gapping from the wing.
Yeah.
What is it? Sorry.
Could
So
read
go-
you his response. I asked him about it.
I'm curious on the director of basketball operations. You say there's not a role for that, but I've been thinking, I didn't know the term Dobo, but I've been thinking about if I want to be the best I can be at Redwood in this role, what can I add value? Like Duffy, when he does practices, he tracks deflections. So is there a way to get like a group of students, maybe from like a statistics class, like an AP stats class, to come in and use practice as their, some part of their coursework
Yeah.
and be with us the whole season? Because I'm not.
That'd be
It's
cool.
a
So I'm
weakness of mine.
gonna do this on a no names basis. But one of our friends who's a coach had this exact desire, and he said, "I want to have a math whiz. Somebody at this high school is a student who's a really maybe not a player on our team, but is a math whiz who I want them to track and be our analytics person." And one of the players on the team knew this kid who was like his math nemesis. Like they were the LeBron and Steph of their math class.
Exactly.
And he asked him, and the kid's like, "Yeah, it's in." So he's gonna do that. So I think that it's out there. Like I've thought about this too at Branson. I'm sure there are some Branson kids who are math geniuses who like basketball who would help us out tracking analytics. Like I think it's a great idea.
When I reached out to you guys a while back about trying to find someone locally who could help me take whatever I'm thinking about in my head from an X's and O's perspective and translate into paper and translate into that communication to the kids, because I have an idea of what I want to help add and what our team is built to do. And a lot of what I'm thinking about and talking about is how to beat MC, because MC is the favorite team. They might play 12 kids. They might go Patino 5 in, 5 out. They're certainly going to be the fastest team in the league. They're definitely going to pick up full court. So I have some ideas on how I might be able to beat them, but I need help translating that into a practice plan, right? Is that a director of basketball operations
No.
person?
That's assistant coaches coming together.
No, but I am the assistant coach. KK.
Well, so you need to collaborate with Jeff
Uh-huh.
and talk about how to collaborate with the kids. The kids have ideas.
But I kind of want some 80-year-old to come
Everyone
in.
has their price.
Hey, I have a question. This is not at all in the.
Duffy?
This is an ad hoc question, impromptu. Coaches, I'm gonna start. Tony, put you on the spot. Do you use AI, ChatGPT, for any of your coaching activities?
I have yet to go down that road with it. I'm using it for my business. I'm using it as an educator, but I have not gone down the AI path yet for my basketball program.
Okay, Duffy.
And I'm going to go home and do it.
Well, I've done a little bit. Actually, just recently I was tasked with coming up with a matrix for what to do at the end of games. So end of game strategy, score, fouls.
Great use case.
And I just put it into AI, and I told it like the CIF rules, and I said develop a table for me, and it's pretty good. I mean, it needs to be tweaked a little bit, but it's like a starting point that's 90% to the goal. And of course, you can't add in. In high school here, you don't know free throw percentage for individual players unless the team is stupid enough to put it into max preps, which some are. It's a huge advantage if they, not a huge, but it's an advantage if they do. But yeah, I would say thumbs up, 10 minutes, got a very good product.
From a higher education perspective, it's a hot topic at colleges and universities right now. People will say, there's no way you're going to have a job within 5 years, right? The school will just enroll the students for you. And I say the exact opposite. You just have to take in the human element. An 18-year-old boy whose registration date and time is a Friday morning at 8 a.m. He's hungover. He wants to go get something to eat. He's going to go play basketball and lift weights. Unless you enroll that student, AI, Chat, GPT, I think I'll have a job for another 10 years. You just cannot do it unless they enroll the students for themselves.
Yeah.
Those are my thoughts on it.
I like it. KK, have you used AI for any practice plans?
None. No, I haven't even used it. I've used it for a couple emails, but
Yeah.
I don't. Yeah, no. Feels like cheating to me.
Tommy?
Yeah, I use it for sure, 100%. But what I do it, but I'm a little different than Duffy, where he's looking for proven analytics in a table. It's interesting to use the word table because it's a cheat sheet. You can look at what you're supposed to do in this situation, which is what's happening in the NFL and the NBA right now. That's not really my job. What I need to do is improve players' fundamentals and skill set.
Right.
So like the coaching clinic we did the other night, Dave and I ran a coaching clinic together last week. That was this week.
That was. Time flies.
So what I did is I talked to myself via text. I'll do one more. Pilsner, please. Thank you. KK is the best. KK, let me give you
No, I got it. I think my back.
Okay, so what I did is, well,
in for KK, by the way.
Dave Duffy's in.
Ooh.
So here's how I did it. Because it gets back to, again, I have thoughts, whether they're good thoughts or bad thoughts. It doesn't matter. I have thoughts about what I want, but I'm not good at putting those into a practice plan or a structure. So while I'm driving, I voice text myself, and I just ramble and say whatever I want to say, and it's this long diatribe of madness. I then cut and I don't know how to get that to my computer, so I cut and paste that in an email to myself. And when I get to my computer, I put that into chat. I go to ChatGPT and I say, organize this for me. Wow. And I paste it. And so the thing I handed out at the coaching clinic is 100% my thoughts, but into a structure.
Right.
And then what's kind of cool is it kicks something out. And what I handed out at that coaching clinic was like the 5th version. Because again, I'm mumbling.
You can iterate on
and it doesn't understand whatever I'm saying. Like the quarters passing drill, what we call the quarters passing drill, which is I will do every day forever. I think it's so important.
It's basically 2-on-2 passing, Duff.
No, but then you add, right? So you add a 3rd defender, and then you add a 4th defender, and then you take away the ability to dribble. And so if I want Redwood to be ready for Duffy's full court press, the best way to do that is to play 2 offensive players against 4 defenders with no dribble allowed. You want to be comfortable on a court,
right?
So that's the overload philosophy. That's not the point. The point is ChatGPT just put it in a structure for me, and then I can go back and say, love it, get rid of this or whatever.
Awesome. It's a powerful tool that I think harnessed in the right way. Like that's a perfect use case of your organic thoughts, but just organize this for me in a cohesive plan. That's a great use of it. When you ask AI at this point to create a practice plan, sometimes I've done that before just as out of morbid curiosity. Sometimes it's fine. Sometimes like, well, start with some ball handling and then do some shooting. I'm saying, okay, cool.
But okay, to go back to the level you're at.
Yeah. Right.
If I'm not a basketball person and I'm the head coach of a
fifth grade
B CYO team, you should 100% go to ChatGPT and say, I am not a basketball person. I'm coaching a 5th grade B team. Help me build a structure for the entire season. It tracks across multiple months.
Yep. Tony Butler, I have a question for you. What stats do you care about as a coach?
Well, we do stat stickers on our lockers. It's a big part of our next day film process. The kids pine for those stat stickers.
How do you track using Huddle, or how do you guys
track using Huddle Assist?
Huddle Assist. Okay.
Huddle Assist, and we do. We're going to add some more practice stickers this year.
I mean, they go on the locker.
Yeah, they go in the locker.
Yeah.
I can show you some pictures.
Yeah,
like
that's awesome.
Keely Wright, and Layla Carey, just like they were working on. They were filling other people's lockers at some point, right? Mm-hmm. And what we do is pursue. They pursue effort stickers are better. We deflections are more important than steals for us. The steals are kind of a result of active hands and deflections. So we do give out a sticker for steals, but we hype the deflection stickers.
I was tracking deflections for Tara Vanderveer in 1996.
They're the best.
I mean, that's
yeah. And rebounds, of course, are great to track.
Huddle,
those are efforts.
Huddle picks up deflections.
No, it does. Yeah, it does.
I mean, it's not 100%.
Yeah, I go back and watch and add them, but it does pick it up on Huddle Assist. Goal this year is to add assist to my JV games.
Yeah, it was great. Dante Stallone got like 6 deflections a game.
Duffy, pick up a microphone.
We should all play like.
No, I want you to.
Stallone had active hands and would get a ton of deflections, and then like somebody else gets the steals, right? And so they show up in the IJ that they had 6 steals, but it was actually Dante who slowed that pass down and got active, right? And like those are the things that we try to track the most. Of course, we're tracking turnovers, and I look at the efficiency ratings and things like that and see what lineups are most effective. But I haven't gone deep enough down the minutes, right? The Huddle doesn't track your minutes correctly, so it's really hard to. It just doesn't make a lot of sense in terms of that part. The plus minus I do think is important. Who's winning and who's losing, what players are in at that point. But turnovers, assists are important. Go ahead.
So started to look at this. I think it's problematic to look at it because of sample size, but the performance of units together.
Yeah.
Huddle will allow you to look at that, but like some group of 5 may play together for like 20 minutes entire season. Have you looked at that? And have you thought about, early in the season, having your lineup structured in such a way that you can look at it?
I haven't gone that far down the road. I do look at it with a grain of salt. And like you said, like you'll get lineups that have a high rating, but you'll know that was the last 3 minutes of a 25-point win, and
I
they're
think
beating up on people. So
I also think that analysis is a lot more relevant for a team like yours at MC, where you've got arguably 12 to 15 guys who can play. So you're going to have different combinations. When you have teams like,
eight girls that are
7, you got 7 players or 8 players, your combinations are there's just a lower sample size, right? Yeah.
But also, how can you get, if you go down that road, don't you run into the problem that, okay, these 5 are great, but only against a 1-3-1 press and only with less pressure on the line in a regular season game? I mean, so many elements show up.
Variables.
Yeah, I
there's
try
so
not
many
to look at it
variables.
so much because of that. And what you said, sometimes you've got to group in because it's the end of a game and you're up or down by 20.
Yeah.
And Huddle doesn't say these minutes didn't matter, so we're, it's not super accurate in my opinion.
I think feel is really important. And then we're talking about AI and things like that, like feel and the human element is so important. Like end of a game, what feels right? What should we do at this point? Do we foul? Like, hard line of like, do you foul at the end of a 3-point game or do you play it out? And some people have hard and fast rules, 7 seconds, we're fouling and sometimes we're not. Like, I think some of that depends on who you're looking at on the other side. Do you trust your own team? I've had it work against me both ways. I fouled and we gave up an offensive rebound and a putback. And, I think you can have it both ways. I think there's a feel to it. And that's what makes a good coach is kind of having a shit.
Do you guys film your practices?
Here and there. I
Do
don't
you use Huddle in the gym to do it?
Uh-huh.
And then do you send that off to track stats also? That must be hard to do.
No. The boys coach at San Marin is very thorough in his recording of practices and he's got a bigger staff than I do. I'd be scared to ask my assistants to go through and track practice stuff, but every so often I will turn it on for practices and then go back and watch it. And I like to watch who's paying attention, who's touching, who's got touches. I'll track some touches. I'll watch some shooting drills and track those a little bit just to see who's making shots. But I'm totally honest, I don't have the capacity.
Shout out to Coach Labdiotis, listener and former guest on the pod. Kay, what'd you have?
One stat that I track is shot percentage, not because it's like, oh, you're missing shots, but I want to make sure we're taking good shots, not bad shots. So bad shots a turnover on my teams. And instead of saying, oh, you're shooting 12% from the 3-point line, you're not allowed to shoot threes. What I say is that 3 was not a good shot. We can take a better one. I never want to limit a kid from taking a shot or or make a kid feel afraid of taking a chance. But if they know, oh yeah, you're right, like that was a turnover. There was 20 seconds on the shot clock. It was a contested 3 when I had a teammate open.
Yep.
Or all we needed to do was swing the ball one time, we would have a better shot. That's a turnover in my book. So instead of saying, your shooting percentage sucks, don't shoot the ball, it's really helpful for me once I see the percentages to look at the film to show the kid, and then they understand it's not their shooting that's bad, it's the shot selection that's bad.
100%. We use the shot tracker a lot, and it pumps out an image of the court and all of their shots, and then you can click on the actual shot that shows the shot. If you can go back and show a kid, especially like when in the shot clock they took it, were they somewhat guarded or not, and where are they making shots and missing shots from? Not only does it guide their practice off the court about like, I need to start making shots from this spot, but we talk about points per possession and we talk about like, look, you're shooting 18% from these shots and we want to try to get to a point per possession. That's not going to get us there. Kids will understand that a little bit more and not feel so bad about you telling them.
Because you're providing evidence.
Yeah.
So it's not you talking, it's the data.
Yeah.
Sorry, Johnny.
Oh, go ahead.
I mean, this is more for the guys because you're a little younger, KK. But if I have a whole bunch of old film, right, and I do collect old basketball footage. There's some games that I see from the 80s and 90s. Like 80% of the shots that we took in high school were horrible shots. Just all contested hard twos.
mid-range too.
15 footers off the dribble, contested after 1-2 dribbles. Like, what was going on? Like, I mean, coaches are just going to coach players how the era they were in, but do you guys recall like the shot selection being just awful? Just awful.
No idea. I don't recall.
No
First
idea.
of all, shout out to you because you took 20, maybe 35 VHS tapes and turned them into DVDs for me. I still have them.
Yeah.
I don't have a DVD player, but I have the whole season on DVD. But I did. I went back and I watched a North Coast section game against Fort Bragg.
Yeah, I have that.
And I'm sure you do. And
they had a kid that went to UOP.
Yeah, they had like a 7-footer.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, he was to us, he was 7'4", right? But I'm telling you, we must have taken 38 threes in that game. We were getting offensive rebounds and could have just put it back, and we're kicking back out. And Rob Beckerly and Riley Bush.
That's actually probably better, right? I mean,
maybe,
to
but
shoot
we didn't
threes,
plan it. That wasn't that wasn't intent. It was just
a lot of hard twos in the 80s.
Yeah.
It's hard, but it's hard to put a value on a Tony Butler rebound to a Rob Beckerly kick out three. There's a emotional toll that occurs on the defensive side of that play.
Yep.
Big threes going in are devastating.
daggers on the one.
Also, how the F did Tony Butler get a rebound?
On a 6'8", 6'7" guy. You know?
He boxed out small back, I think.
One of the many things that I haven't figured out as a coach is my principle on offensive rebounds. If you get an offensive rebound in the traffic of all that's going on, do I want a kid who's 5'4" putting it back up in traffic, or do we want to pull it out and run a set? We want to pull it out and run motion. Do we want to pull it out and
Looney to kick it out to shooter.
Yeah, you kick it out and shoot a
yeah?
three.
So
my answer is
whatever you tell the
shoot
girls,
it.
they're going to do it every time. So
100%
shoot it every time.
every single time, because it's not about the rebound, it's about the intent to go get the rebound. This is my philosophy.
Okay, I love it.
I want you go get that ball, and if you get it, you've earned the right to shoot. And a lot of kids don't get a chance to ever shoot. And all right, well, you're not going to shoot because these four kids are our leading scorers and our best shooters. So you want a bucket? Go get it. It's a deeper thing for me.
I say 100% kick it out to the shooter.
Said the guy who's never rebounded but shot many threes. Okay. Question for everybody. We're going to start with Dave Dineen. When you're watching a game, what are you watching? If let's say, and now Dave Dineen is one of these people, let's assume you don't have any money on the game, first of all. Okay. There's no vested interest in this game. You're not Terry Rozier. Okay. Are you watching offensive actions, defense, how they're covering pick and rolls? Are you just watching for shot makers? Are you watching for athletes? Like, how do you watch a game? Let's say it's a typical Division I college game. It's Indiana State against Valparaiso. Go.
Ooh, that's a good one. That's a good game. So I kind of to piggyback what we were just talking about, some of the interesting things in today's basketball.
By 4.5.
6. No, I mean, when shots go up now, I think, and I watch a lot more college basketball than I do high school, the teams that are really well coached, Matthew Dellavedova was really good at this when he was with Cleveland. The shot would go up. Your natural instinct is to go get the rebound, right? Now teams run out to the three-point line, because if they do Looney does get a rebound, you got to find those guys on the perimeter,
Right.
rather than, I'm going to go crash the boards and being a tough guy. No, if you're not going to get it, you better get your butt out, because they're kicking it out to shoot another three-pointer. So there's a lot of fluidity with the game. The college game is just, I mean, there's 80 games tomorrow night, 80 Division I men's college basketball game, which is nuts, because when I was growing up, the first game was always that first Friday after Thanksgiving. It was always November 29th or something like that. So in the college game, it's 9 new players. Every team has a new roster this year. So just kind of see how they're coached up and which teams are together this early is kind of fun to watch.
Yeah.
How do we feel about following your shot? Because I want to send a PSA out to my parents every year. If I hear you yell at your kid to follow their shot, I'm going to turn around and embarrass you.
Yeah, because the whole thing now is, right, you want to will the ball into the basket and hold it, and a lot of guys got really good at that. Curry, and they're going to players are going to emulate that. If you're following it, you're already following it before it even goes in or has an attempt.
Yeah, and I'm thinking
right?
They did the study at Harvard where they studied a full season of shots. I think it was at Duke, and it was like 85% of shots from the wing, went to the other side. So your chances of it actually coming back to your side are low, but then getting the rebound are even lower. So why would the shooter on the corner of the wing follow their shot.
Because their parents were born in 1972, and that's what they did in 1982.
Yeah, we've talked about this a little bit, like couple counter arguments. One is to get in the habit of offensive rebounding from the perimeter. So if you're a team that wants to send 4 to the boards, like if you see a shot going up, if you're on the opposite wing, you want some like trigger to always go in.
Yeah.
But I agree, if it's a corner shot, 80% of the time, if it's going to miss, it's going to go far. But you're still occupying someone who has to come box you out if you're running in.
Yeah, you're forcing a box out. That's the argument.
But I would say, like, where I've landed is like shoot, and if you know it's off, because it came off the side of your hand, like immediately go in, unless you're the designated person getting back. Otherwise, if it's part of your rhythm and you're like, okay, I'm step back, whatever, you don't want to go from a step back to running in.
Yeah.
Kind of depends on the rhythm of the shot.
Yeah, and I guess your program decision is who is your designated get back individual? Is it the person in the hole at the top of the key every time, or like how do you designate who those people are? And do you give
I call that the goalie.
The goalie.
Goalie.
I like that.
Yep.
I like that.
You're the goalie. So the low hole guy, that's the goalie. Person, low hole guy.
What's a low hole guy?
Bottom help side. So if you're guarding the corner, the ball's on the opposite wing, you're in that low hole. Your head's under the rim, seeing both.
That's the person you want to get back first? You don't send a guard back?
No, I'm saying that's what I call the goalie.
Okay.
The goalie. They protect the goal.
You're on defense.
You're on
not
defense.
offense. Oh, I got you. Right. Okay.
So the goal, yeah, that's a goalie. Like, I'm just saying the goalie's the first guy back. Goalie's a rim protector. Even if they're not a rim protector, they're. Okay. To answer your question, Dave, I look for teams that are bonded. Like, the UConn women's team last year was so fun to watch because they were so happy and such good friends. Like, KK Arnold is the dream.
Yeah.
Paige Beckers, AZ Fudd, such goofy people.
Totally agree.
They won on the power of friendship.
Yeah,
they'll say we won on the power of friendship. And on their, like, if you watch Paige break down her championship ring, it says like vibes. It says certain things on there where like only they would get. And that's so awesome. And I think for people like us, we can see that. And that's what I, as a fan, that's what I like to watch.
But where are your eyes? Let's say you're watching a UConn women's game. What are you actually focused on? I don't mean stats or teams,
yeah, the bench, how teammates act when their teammate hits a shot, what happens when somebody gets a good deflection, how they pick somebody up off the floor, right? Like if Ashton, whatever, fell on the ground, all 4 of her teammates are there picking her up. This sounds silly, but the way Gino and Paige hugged after the championship game, like, you could just tell. Like, when they hugged, it's like, wow, they've been through something. They love each other.
Yeah.
So, it's a good question, Tom, because I don't really know. But there's some connection that I can just see, and I'm sure others can too, that it's just special.
ATOs.
What's that?
After timeouts. What are people running? Sideline inbounds, ATOs, baseline blobs. I mean, my biggest fear when I was a young coach was having to draw up a play under 10 seconds with a loud crowd and not being able to stop trembling and write a play on the whiteboard, and so of course everything has to go perfect when you do these, but like the coaches in the NBA and even the top coaches in college now, they're just the stuff that they get whatever they want.
Yeah.
So many times. And so I'm always looking for creative ideas to get a good shot off a dead ball.
We asked this question to Jonas. Sorry, go ahead, Duff.
Just a question about that is sometimes in these moments you're drawing a play, even a play that you've done before in practice, but you can see you're looking at the players and they're in the moment and they're distracted. You know they're not paying attention, but you only have a certain amount of time. How do you train for that moment? Because I've definitely screwed some up where I thought I had a great play, but there's just one player that was just too distracted by the moment and they didn't execute it.
I think a lot has to go right no matter what it ends up games in that period. I mean, that's why, what is it? Lacoste just said, give the ball to your best player and get out of the way. That's probably, if you have that player, if you have a bucket getter, I would do that every single time.
Right.
But we are not all lucky enough to have that player. We do situations almost every day at practice so that we're used to what would happen. And I think the best idea is to go to what you know. Just go to what's comfortable and be able to have 2 or 3 options out of each one of those plays so that if something goes sideways, at least they know where to go second.
So this is back to my frustration with not having 5-on-5 last year. but I watched a lot of Tyler Gaffney's practices. Tyler, I think, is, if not the best coach in Marin,
No, he's the best.
certainly.
Easy days.
He's
Certainly,
the
I know
best.
I'm surrounded by
Long
probably
career.
the best coaches in Marin,
Tyler,
but
you're the best.
Tyler's amazing.
Hands down.
But Tyler would do, and then, by the way, Jonas did this with us 30 years ago, but he would do a lot of time and score situations. Okay, 12 seconds left. We're down 2. Assistant coach Andy Johnson, you take team white. I'm taking team blue. We're drawing up a play, ATO, sideline out of bounds, baseline out of bounds, full court. They're pressing, different situations.
You have to.
Well, just obviously practice it, but it's hard to replicate the feeling in an important game when because it kind of like the KK's moment, like stopping and everyone breathing, until you feel it with the crowd and the pressure, it's hard to replicate that in practice.
Got to crank the death metal. You got to turn up the speakers, death metal, figure it out.
There's something to be said for reps. And KK, I mean, watching your team last year, through the course of the year, I mean, we played you guys, we beat you guys. You were missing some players, but we beat you guys. And then watching you progress through, I like to remind you of that.
Would you like to brag a little bit more, Dave?
Let me look. Dineen and I want to talk about our backdoor play first. But then, as your team got more reps in pressure situations through NCS, through NorCal, and then by the time you guys got to state, you were battle tested. They'd had the reps. So, Duff, to your question, and KK and I have even talked about this with our team this year. Start of the season, we're probably going to struggle with certain games, trying certain defensive principles. But the more reps we get, by mid-season, they're going to get it. And Mike Fulton was a legend at that. Our team would struggle. We'd look so bad at the start of seasons. We couldn't put the ball in the basket. He said, "We're fine. Trust me. We're going to get it."
So to that point, I think it's so important that the kids know that.
Yes.
You can know that and I can know that, but the kids need to know it. The parents need to know it. Everybody needs to know that there's a process that's going on.
We're fine.
And it will be okay.
Yes.
And so I think last year at MC, that loss was ugly. We didn't have players, so there you go. But even if we did and we lost that game, it's still a learning point. After that loss, we had the best practice we've had without 2 of our starters. We had the best practice. I think the entire team would say that to this day. That was the best practice we've ever had. We just came in with a new sense of urgency and effort. That was a turning point. Losing to Carondelet was a turning point. We were supposed to lose, but not by 50.
Right.
Right? That was a testing game. We should have lost by 20. We lost by 50 and we peed our pants.
I was there.
Yeah.
And so instead of those games being dang, we didn't, nobody hung their heads.
You learn from it. Yep, absolutely. Tom, I want you to answer, what do you look for when you're watching a game?
Hold on real quick. To answer Tom's question. When I watched CYO in high school, is the bench together? Where are the kids sitting? Is the coach at the end of the bench? How's the coach approaching the kids? Are the kids coming out giving high fives? Are they huddling at the free throw line? When timeouts are called, are they connected? I had this thing at MC last year when we would call timeouts. That was our time. It's not a time for Tony to get water or Tom to get water. It's our time. You don't need water in a 30-second timeout. That's time for us. You don't
only 30. It's not full.
Fulls. We've got kids getting water, and my assistant and I will talk. And then by the time we get there, everybody should be connected. But 30s, it's this is our time just to regroup really quick. You need to be there, fully present.
Yeah.
So
When I hear you talk about those things, and this is the 4th or 5th time you've talked about sort of this theme of connectedness and how people act amongst each other and treat each other, it's something I don't spend any time thinking about, and I'm trying to get better about thinking about it, because to me it's so obvious and intrinsic. Why wouldn't you be that way? And that's part of what I mentioned an hour ago, which is I get confused by people who aren't that way, and so it's which is my problem, not theirs, because I have trouble communicating with them. And some of my favorite players ever are just those people who grab. Remember that Michigan State clip that went around Instagram when Instagram was new?
Yeah.
Of the point guard grabbing the big man and literally picking his chin up?
Yeah.
That still sticks with me.
d-
That's called leadership.
Didn't you say TT was one of the goofiest, funnest leaders?
What TT was for me was I've never. There's a couple things about TT that was super impressive. I've never been around a kid who can score 42 and then pass on the game-winning shot. The biggest shot, I've got this video of the biggest shot of the year for Redwood last year, was a pass to a junior on a back cut. And it's like, but on top of that, he was so nice to everybody. And I would go up and I tried not to coach him too much because he didn't need me. He already was the player of the year and he already had a ride at Cal. So I'd stay away from too much input. But nice, friendly, amazing.
So that's something that I saw when I would watch.
Well, I'll tell you that team. So I'll give you a story about that team because I think everybody's going to talk. Everyone's going to remember that team. Not that you remember these teams, but it's TT's team, right? But when Duffy and I coached the All-Star game together, we coached it with Mike Saya. So Jay was out of town. I coached the Marin County All-Star team against the Sonoma kids. And Saya's comment was the Redwood. He said, what did he say? He said, the Redwood huddles must have been so fun. And then I looked at the picture of the All-Star team. The Redwood kids smile. I never really thought about that because it was so natural. Their smiles were huge. And some of the other kids, great kids who smile, but they had that cool look. You know, you're in a picture, so you got to look cool. And TT was a big part of that. He's our leader, and he was not a jerk. He was nice to everybody. But to go back an hour and a half, one of the bench mob, we called him the bench mob. You know, if you can name your bench, I think there's some power there, was Cody Vasquez, Kevin's kid, who didn't play too much, but he was the voice. If you watched that team all year, you would have never noticed Cody Vasquez. He was the voice in the locker room. He was he told us stuff. He was always last out. He always kept it fresh. And so we had this special, I told those kids a lot at halftime. I get to speak pregame. We warm up in the small gym. I get to speak. That was my job, speak in the small gym before the game. I tell them all the time, I'm like, very lucky. You guys don't know it. This is a special group of kids. And there's not a single asshole on this team. Excuse my language. Are you allowed to swear?
Drowning after that.
There was some drowning talk.
So
if you want to drown, the deep end is obviously Duffy.
Tom, I want to get to your observation on watching games, but I want to share one thing. I just actually texted this out to our Branson squad and KK this morning, but it's a clip that actually I saw from my friend Tony Butler of I think he's an organizational behavior professor talking about Steve Nash. Remember this?
Mm-hmm.
And he was discussing Steve Nash was MVP when he played with the Suns at some point in the 90s. And he led the league in two statistical categories. One was assists, and the other was physical touches with his teammates. So hand slaps, back pats, arm around. And there was a study done by UC Berkeley where they had a group of researchers watch every game, every minute of every game. Duffy is now demonstrating, which is a little weird. But they'd watch every game and they'd track the touches. And Steve Nash had, in one game, he had 240 where he's patting the back, slapping high five. And it's just this concept, KK, to what you're talking about, of connectivity. And that he just engendered this connectivity among his teammates. And it led to success.
Did you see Russell Wilson today? Was that today or last week? He's QB2.
Yeah.
Russell Wilson. Everybody knows this name. And instead of running out of the tunnel and being all cool, he's standing there high-fiving every single person that came out of the tunnel.
Yeah, it's great. Mm-hmm. That matters. Okay, Tom, you're watching the game. What are you looking for? Big man. Where's Hakeem?
It's a lot of why don't they give it to the big guy down low?
Just why don't they give it to the post player?
Yeah, quit shooting these threes. No, for me, I've been the leading scorer on teams, but they've never been teams of importance, right? In high school, I was a 6th man, and I guess I played a lot at junior college, but then at Santa Barbara, I was a walk-on. So I'm looking for, I actively try to convince myself to not look at the ball, what's happening off the ball. And it's actually helped me enjoy watching the NFL more. If you really want to learn about the NFL, don't look at the quarterback at all. Everything else is what's going on. And I'm learning from the NFL some of the trickery you can put on a basketball court. Side note, who's getting to the midline kind of stuff? The ball swings left. Your job is to be on the split line and help side defense. And then someone gets beaten, scored on. And then this happens all the time, the person who was supposed to be in split line help to pick that up is now sort of giving the hands up look to the guy that got beat. And if I were the guy that got beat, it's like, yeah, man, I'm slow. I'm getting beat sometimes. Like, where were you, buddy? That's the job. So I try to really look away from the ball. But I think that's sort of an appreciation for me of the guys that have the ball are the best players. I'm not usually the best player on the court. So I like to see, and especially when we're watching our own tape, because you can turn to the kid, did you see what I saw there? You were supposed to be there. You weren't,
right?
Kind of thing.
Right. That's great.
There was a moment in the Warriors game the other night where they were talking about Jonathan Kuminga's growth as a player. It's a play late in the game where Denver was actively trying to get Curry into a switch.
Yep.
And Curry turned and Kuminga just went. He used to stay and guard his guy, but he saw the switch and just auto switched with Curry. He was a little bit slow, but it was good enough to get them to end up having to have Kuminga on defense instead of Steph. And that was a huge growth part. So that watching that off the ball rotation, I think is so good. I look at like, how are people defending ball screens? And then for years trying to score points on Marin Catholic and Ashley with the zone and the constant switching, the matchup. Like I was constantly just trying to find ways to deal with switching on defense. How do you beat a switch? What are teams doing to beat a switch?
Yep.
So,
And what's the answer?
never found it.
Get better players.
Slips and ghosts, like that's probably the way, but
Don't set screens.
don't set or screen your own player.
I saw something recently that I was watching a game, it was an NBA game, where they were going under on a high ball screen, and then just automatic. I think it might have been the Pacers. Automatically, they just rescreened.
Yeah.
So like Siakam was setting a high ball screen for Quentin Jackson.
Oh, Holden Ballard. Holden Ballard is coming in to join. Next podcast.
Get away from me.
Player
Dad.
roundtable.
Get out. We are.
Love you, Dad. Best dad ever.
I'm listening, Dave.
Thank you. Siakam was setting a high ball screen for Quentin
How long is this
Jackson.
podcast?
They went underneath, and then they did a rescreen. I was like, oh, that's a great. Okay. Anyway, we've reached the end of this podcast, clearly.
Oh.
Go ahead, Duffy.
We're going to do more roundtables. And as a recurring segment in the roundtables, we'd like to introduce Dave Levine trivia. So for the group,
Not approved.
for the group, okay. How many times in high school did Dave Levine foul out of a basketball game? We'll start with Tom. We'll go around the circle, but you're not allowed to answer until
There's
the end.
no data to support this,
I'm
first of all.
gonna guess it was just the one time. It was the Branson existing small gym, and it was against Darnell Robinson.
That was I was going there with that, and I think I'm going to call it that's his second time. I think that was the second time that he did it. He said, "I got to go that route again to guard this guy."
The Caesars Sportsbook line in Vegas is 3.5, and I'm going to take over 3.5.
I'm going 0.
Dave?
So KK's smart because to foul out, that implies that you play minutes.
Exactly.
No, I did get minutes. I think I fouled out 3 times.
No, what a line.
2 against Emory and 1 against University.
The big money came in late.
Yes, thank
Yeah,
you.
exactly.
Mafia money.
All right. Well, this was awesome. I want to extend a heartfelt thank you to Dave Dineen, Kayden Korst, Tom Poser, Tony Butler, and a partial thanks to Duffy Ballard. This was awesome. Thank you for being our first round/square rectangular table. We're going to do more of these, but you guys are awesome. Thank you. And to our listeners, thanks for hanging with us for almost 2 hours of basketball banter and
Although it might be 2 episodes.
beers. Might be 2 episodes.
This season.
Burke's on his feet. He looks up and gives me a grin and says,
Hey, dude, you too must be